Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping straight into a story that kicked off with a really shocking event, a missile strike, right in the heart of Kyiv, hitting a building that has offices for both the European Union and the United Kingdom. So, let's get right into it.
And wow, the reaction was immediate. Condemnation just erupted all across Europe. Leaders were, completely outraged, saying this was a clear message from Putin that he's just not interested in peace. But was this attack really as unprovoked as it looked at first glance? The initial reports certainly painted that picture, a sudden, brutal escalation out of nowhere.
So here's what went down. On August 26th, the Ukrainian capital was just rocked by this massive Russian assault. We're talking more than 600 drones and over 30 ballistic and cruise missiles. This wasn't just another random barrage. This felt targeted, and it was incredibly intense.
And the human cost? Well, it was immediate and just tragic. Ukrainian officials reported that at least 18 people were killed in these strikes, and that included several children. The images that started coming out of Kyiv, they just showed pure devastation in civilian areas.
Okay, but here's where this whole thing gets really interesting. The target itself. Hitting a building with European and British offices is a huge deal. I mean, under the Vienna Convention, diplomatic locations are supposed to be protected. So this strike was seen as a direct challenge, not just to Ukraine, but to all of its Western partners.
So you got to ask the question, right? Why would Russia risk such a blatant attack? An attack that you know is going to provoke international fury and just unite its opponents even more? Well, the answer, as it turns out, isn't really about what happened on that day, but what happened in the days leading up to it.
To really get Russia's motive here, we've got to rewind the clock. This was not an attack that came out of the blue. Nope, it was a reaction. It was a retaliation, and was sparked by a chain of events that started just a few days before. Look at this sequence of events, because it really tells the whole story. On August 23rd, Ukraine strikes a critical oil pipeline inside Russia. The very next day, August 24th, they hit a major Russian oil refinery. And then, just 2 days after that, boom! Russia unleashes its massive retaliatory strike on Kyiv.
Now, from Ukraine's perspective, these attacks weren't random at all. They actually celebrated the hit on the refinery as a major success. Their logic? They had hit Russia's cash machine. You see, oil exports are pretty much the lifeblood of the Russian economy and its war effort, so that makes all of its energy infrastructure a legitimate strategic target in their eyes.
But, and this is a huge but, that attack on the Druzhba pipeline, it's way more complicated. This pipeline is a critical energy artery. It doesn't just serve Russia. It's actually a primary source of crude oil for two European Union members, Hungary and Slovakia, two landlocked countries that are super dependent on it for their energy.
So when you put it all side by side like this, the picture becomes crystal clear. On one side, you have Ukraine carrying out these strategic strikes against Russia's economic lifeline, and on the other, you have Russia's devastating and politically explosive retaliation on Kyiv. It is a classic tit-for-tat escalation, but this one came with some really unintended consequences.
And right here is where the story takes another sharp turn. Because Ukraine's attack on that pipeline didn't just provoke Russia. It actually lit a fierce political firestorm inside the European Union, pitting one ally against another.
The reaction from Hungary was, well, swift and furious. Their foreign minister did not mince words. He came right out and said that Ukraine's strike on the pipeline was a direct attack on Hungary's sovereignty. So why such a powerful reaction?
Because the damage to that pipeline plunged Hungary into a 7-day energy crisis. For a full week, a critical energy supply was just cut off. That made the consequences of Ukraine's action painfully real for a fellow EU nation.
So in response, Hungary did something that was frankly unthinkable before this. An EU member, a country that's part of the bloc supporting Ukraine, went ahead and imposed sanctions on a Ukrainian military commander, banning him from even entering the country. This was a pretty stunning crack in European unity.
This really lays bare the fundamental conflict of interests at play here. On one side, you've got Ukraine saying, look, we're in a fight for our very existence. Any Russian asset that fuels the war is a fair target. But then you have Hungary saying, hey, that's your war. Our own national energy security is not up for debate. It can't become collateral damage.
Okay, so let's step back and just look at the bigger picture for a second. What do all these rapid-fire events really tell us about where this conflict is at and the state of the alliances around it?
There are a few really crucial things to take away.
First, we're clearly seeing this dangerous cycle where each side's attack just justifies it bigger and bigger retaliation. Second, when you target shared infrastructure, like a pipeline, you risk creating deep divisions between your own allies. Third, the definition of what counts as a legitimate target is obviously expanding for both sides. And finally, this whole episode has exposed some deep, underlying fractures in the EU's united front.
And this all leaves us with a really difficult and, I think, provocative question. As the lines keep blurring and the stakes get higher and higher, are we heading into a phase of this conflict where anything that sustains the enemy, even a pipeline that also serves an ally, is considered fair game? In a total war, what, if anything, is truly off limits?
And that's all the time we have for this deep dive. I want to thank you for joining today's explainer and for taking the time to understand all the complex layers hiding just behind the headlines.
I'm really curious. What do you think? Leave your thoughts on that final question down in the comments. And hey, if you found this explainer valuable, please be sure to share it, and of course, subscribe for more insights into the stories that are shaping our world. Thanks for watching.